No. No, it's not. What's good, boys? So the 5.8 mid-season patch dropped in the finals just last week. A bunch of big balance changes. The pike is back, the lock bolt is usable, and the Cerberus is... And today, we got another small update, 5.9, that nerfed the dagger.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
And they also made some changes to the topic of today's video, and my favorite gun in the game, the KS-23. But I've got some gripes with these patches. I don't know if you guys have ever joined the official finals Discord, but I honestly can't recommend it to you. Especially on patch days, that place is an absolute dumpster fire. You could look in any text chat anywhere in there, and it was anything other than cordial. I genuinely could not find a single message saying anything positive. I honestly hope that the devs don't look at it for feedback, even though I'm sure they do. Some of the people in there have obviously never heard of constructive criticism. The mid-season patch was great, and it addressed a ton of really bad issues that the game has had around for far too long. And I could have made a whole video on that, but I'm a week late now, and I'm also lazy, so I'm not going to. Anyways, all I'm saying is, I try to stay relatively positive when it comes to big balance changes, because at the end of the day, the devs are humans, and the game can never truly be perfectly balanced. There will always be a meta, and there will always be niche picks, and that's great, as long as the power shifts, and the meta moves around frequently enough that the game will always feel fresh. And I genuinely felt that way about last week's patch, until I read further, and I came across the most horrific change I've ever encountered in any patch note, in any game I've ever played. The winch got a 2-meter length reduction. Just kidding, I don't even know why they changed that shit, but it doesn't matter, who actually cares. The actual change was a quote-unquote bug fix. They removed the ability to bypass manual action animations, such as using a bolt action or pump action by interrupting them. I can't understate how bad this change is. It introduces more clunky animations that were easily mitigated before by just canceling it with a melee or pulling out an item. Now, if you shoot the KS-23, pull out a gadget or melee, then pull the KS-23 back out, it remembers that you still need to pump it. So you get the additional animation. How realistic. What a great change.
Now I got the information that I need, and now I have to break your neck.
This change alone not only makes the KS-23 terrible, but the sniper, the model, all feel super clunky, and it ruins a part of the game that I would offer up as like skill expression. This especially ruins a key combo when running the winch and the KS-23 together, which is my main build. Say I want to kill this medium. I used to be able to shoot hook, shoot melee. And even if I missed one of those shots or didn't start with a shoot, I was going to be able to kill that medium. Nowadays, if I want to kill the same medium, I need to shoot hook, shoot, and then just double melee. And it doesn't look that bad, and it doesn't look that much longer, but after getting hooked, a good player isn't going to stick around to receive the second melee, so you have to just sit there and wait for the pump, and you're probably dead because of it to his teammates. It's a bad change. The test clips aren't going to display how bad this is, but if you've used this combo in the past, it's going to feel like garbage if you try to do it again. It's not only with the winch either. Like, if you just try to go finish a player by shooting and meleeing, and they have a sliver of health because they've started regenning or something, you're just stuck there waiting for your gun to come back out because you have to finish the melee animation, then it has to pump, and then they're already gone. It's terrible. I could rant all day. I hate it. It's so bad. We can also talk about the changes they made to the KS-23 with the patch today, which I in theory like, but it's very situational, and it doesn't actually change that much. So they increased the minimum damage fall off multiplier from 0.6 to 0.7, meaning the gun can do slightly more damage at long range. And the main change which has been the main problem for the KS-23 for most of its lifespan. They've decreased the bullet dispersion while aiming down sights. If you didn't know, aiming down sight on every shotgun in the game pre 5.9 was useless. It didn't increase your accuracy at all. It was just the visual, so nobody ever scoped in because it was cosmetic. It didn't do anything. But with the most recent change, this has become inconsistent because now it's useless to ADS on every shotgun except the KS-23, which now has that functionality. It makes me mad that it's inconsistent, but I'll let it slide, I guess, because I like the KS-23. And that was a big problem for specifically the KS-23. I don't know how big of a problem it was for like the model, because the model is like a fucking laser beam. It's especially after the range changes in the recent patch, the mid-season patch. But yeah, the KS-23 wasn't used as much before because it felt clunky. Like you were super inaccurate while sprinting, while this guy using the model is like sliding, jumping, and like on a zip line, and he's 5 million feet in the air, and he's full accurate while doing all of it. It felt really bad. And yeah, you just like slightly walk and the KS-23 shoots on the edge of your screen. Like, I don't know. It felt really bad. But in reality, this doesn't like actually change that much. You can't sprint while ADSing in this game, so you're just going even slower than you would if you had just stopped sprinting and were just walking and shot the gun and hip fire like you already did when you played the KS-23. Like, specifically, the KS-23 required you almost to not use toggle sprint. Like, I know most players in the game use toggle sprint because there's no reason to not use toggle sprint. But the KS-23 didn't let you do that, because if you had toggle sprint on, you were just never accurate because you would just be sprinting all the time and you would just always miss. So I had that turned off. And yeah, this change actually doesn't change that much. It would change how the gun feels when you're midair, or if you're on a zip line, or like if you're sliding, I guess. But yeah, it doesn't actually affect that much in reality. And I don't actually think it changes like the actual core gameplay of the KS-23. Like, it's definitely going to play the same, where like you basically just have to like hold still when you shoot. I will take it as a KS-23 main, but again, I don't think it changes anything. And I think they've, through these last two patches, have introduced a actually more clunky mechanic to the gun, which they tried to fix in this patch, but it actually fixed the original problem with the gun and didn't address the main problem. So yeah, it's backwards. So anyway, you probably get it. The KS-23 is not back. Absolutely not. It might feel better in some cases, but in general, I think these last two patches have left the gun in an overall worse spot than it was in the pre-mid-season era. I didn't even go into the fact that they increased the fall-off range because it was so small. The distance is so small that they increased it by, like, you're not going to notice it in your day-to-day gameplay. But hey, especially with the LH1 still being good and the pike being back at 50 damage or whatever, like, I guess it's going to be nice to shoot those longer range targets, but you're still going to get fried by those two guns, and you're probably not going to want to take that trade most of the time. So yeah, I don't think it changes that much. So what do you think? You guys like using the KS-23? Are you more keen to try it now that it's more clunky, but like slightly more accurate and slightly more effective at range? I don't know. I'm upset. It's my favorite gun. Let me know what you think in the comments. And until next time, let them know.